So, his kids, get up and let's get started.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Jesus is the light, I'm gonna let him shine. Jesus is the light, I'm gonna let him shine. Jesus is the light. You're indescribable in every way. You search me out, now I'm caught up in your grace. I heard my name across the ocean. You pulled me closer, the current changed. You showed me life, a new horizon, a silver lining, a brand new day. And I might go, I can't find the words to say at all. You're higher than all my ways, I look at you. You open my eyes to see and poured out your heart for me. My God, you're indescribable in every way.
government and its peace will never end. He'll rule with fairness and justice from the throne of his ancestor David for all eternity. Isaiah 9 verse 7. Now say it with me. His government and its peace will never end. He'll rule with fairness and justice from the throne of his ancestor David for all eternity. Isaiah 9 verse 7. Good job, guys.
Welcome to another big message time. I hope that you're all as excited as I am today. And I hope that you've been having a great week and this is the start of a new week, because Sunday is actually the first day of the week, not Monday like they tell you in school. I'm kidding. So, today we'll be learning about kindness showed by a certain someone. So some people may ask, what is kindness? Kindness is the quality or state of showing a gentle nature and desire to help others. And in today's Bible story, we'll be learning about how King David, I'm sure you all know who he is, showed special kindness to someone. So, let's get started. Okay, before we get started, does anyone remember the big picture question? I'm seeing some hands, maybe someone's shouting something out. Can you shout a little louder? I can't hear you. Well, for those who don't remember, the big picture question is, how is Jesus the perfect king? And the big picture answer is, Jesus perfectly rules over the universe as the King of Kings. We can think about this question and answer as we learn about King David, one of Israel's great kings. And our big picture question will help us to think about the big picture that God was doing in the Bible. All along, God was working out his plan to rescue sinners through his son, Jesus. So again, I'll ask, what is our big picture question and answer? How is Jesus the perfect king? Jesus perfectly rules over the universe as the King of Kings. You got it? Good. So glad to hear that. So, the Bible is amazing. I don't know if you know that, but it is. It's full of stories, and all the stories just come together to form an even greater, much bigger story about Jesus. Lately, we've been hearing stories about King David. David was a shepherd boy. Shepherd boys don't do much instead of... Whoa, okay. David was a shepherd boy, and shepherd boys don't do much. They just look after sheep. That's pretty much their job, and protect them and guide them as they go. But God thought that David was a very, very, very special shepherd boy. So God chose David to become king instead of another man, and this man's name is Saul. We heard about the time David showed mercy even though Saul hated him. Do you remember that? Because I do. David could have killed him, but he trusted God's plan. When David became the king of Israel, God made a covenant with him. God promised that the Messiah, who's Jesus, would come from David's family. And if you look in the book of Luke, you'll find the genealogy of Jesus, and you'll see that David's name is in that list. That's a fun fact. You can go, how incredible is that Jesus, the Messiah, comes through David's line, his genealogy, because God made him a promise, and God fulfilled that promise as God always does. So that's absolutely incredible. And today's Bible story is called David's Kindness. So listen closely.
David was a good king for Israel. He defeated his enemies, and he obeyed God to do what was fair and right for God's people. One day, David thought about King Saul and his family. David and Saul's son Jonathan had been best friends. He had promised to be kind to Jonathan's family. David wondered if anyone from that family was still alive. David said to one of Saul's servants, "I want to show kindness to someone from Saul's family. Is anyone still alive?" The servant said, "Yes, Jonathan's son, the one whose feet were injured, is still alive." The servant told David where Jonathan's son lived. His name was Mephibosheth. David called for him to his palace in Jerusalem. When Mephibosheth arrived, he bowed down before David to show respect. "Mephibosheth," David said. Mephibosheth answered, "I am your servant." "Don't be afraid. I made a promise to your father, Jonathan, and I want to show you kindness for your father's sake." David told Mephibosheth what he would do for him. "I will give you all the land that belonged to your grandfather, Saul. Also, I want you to eat all your meals at my table." Mephibosheth bowed down. "Why would you show such kindness to someone like me?" he wondered. David made sure that Saul's servants would take care of the land and farm it for Mephibosheth. From that time on, Mephibosheth lived at the palace and ate his meals at King David's table as if he were one of King David's own sons. King David showed surprising kindness to Mephibosheth, even though he didn't have to. In a greater way, God shows surprising kindness to us. Because of Jesus, he invites us into his family and gives us life with him forever.
Wow, what an incredible Bible story video that we just watched about David's kindness. And I don't know if you were listening, but there was a word, I think that it's a tongue twister for me, about Jonathan's son. Jonathan's son's name. His name is Mephibosheth. It's kind of tricky for me to say, so I don't know if you can try to say it. Let's hear. Mephibosheth. Yes. Well done to you guys. Doing so much better than I am. Anyways, so King David showed surprising kindness to Mephibosheth. You just stick with me, okay? Even though he didn't have to. In a greater way, God surprisingly shows kindness to us. Because of Jesus, he invites us into his family and gives us life with him forever. So not just for now, or not just for today, or tomorrow, or yesterday, but it's forever, which means it's always, always going to be there. Now, when Mephibosheth, our favorite name, heard David's invitation to eat at his table, he didn't say anything. He was like, "Oh, that's so kind of you." And, sorry, I need to do that again. Didn't say. Oh, okay, there we go. Got it. Okay. Now, when our favorite name, Jonathan, son Mephibosheth, or however you say it, heard David's invitation to eat at his table, he didn't just say, "Oh, that's so kind of you," and go home. No. He stayed in Jerusalem and ate at David's table. Crazy. In a similar way, when we hear the good news of God in the gospel, which is the gospel, we need to respond. Jesus invites us. He's calling out to us into God's family, and we can respond by accepting the invitation and trusting in Jesus. We can turn away from sin and turn to him, turn to God, turn to Jesus. So, before we close off and say our little prayer, we're going to ask the big picture question and answer again. Do you remember it? I'm trying to remember it. Okay. How is Jesus the perfect king? Jesus perfectly rules over the universe as the King of Kings. Okay. And now we're going to close off after hearing. So yes, we're going to pray. So repeat after me, please. God, you are good and kind. We confess that we are not always kind. Forgive us, Lord. Your love is in us through your Spirit. Help us love others well by showing kindness and sharing the gospel. Amen. Wow, what a journey to go through David showing kindness. And I hope that you too this week will be able to show kindness to somebody else and someone will show kindness to you. And that's all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week. And if you ever need to talk to anyone about anything, you know who your leaders are. So, bye.
It's quiz time! Are you ready to answer some questions from today's Bible story?
I'm ready. Do you know who David showed kindness to?
David showed kindness to Jonathan's son.
That's correct. Do you guys remember what Jonathan's son's name was?
His name was Mephibosheth.
Wow, what a name. Do you guys remember what David did to show kindness to Mephibosheth?
David gave Mephibosheth all the land that belonged to his grandfather, Saul, and invited him to come and live in his palace and eat at his table.
That was so kind of David. Do you know how God showed kindness to us?
God showed his kindness to us by sending his son Jesus to save us.
That's all the questions we have for you today. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Have a great week!